Hey, what's up, guys? Dropping another video right now. I finally got this package that I wasn't able to get a hold of for the past two attempts. Today was the third attempt, and I was lucky enough to actually have the day off today. So I was able to snag that package and get this home. I got back my return from CGC. I upgraded some 9.5s that I purchased at an antique shop here locally by where I stay at. And they were 9.5s, and now they're 10s with that new black label. Aquopolis set, reverse hollow. It's pretty interesting how I got into this whole reverse Aquopolis set. I got a few of them, not too many, just the ones that are right in front of you. I just purchased this Tangler recently here from eBay for like 40 bucks. Really love this little guy right here, especially for the price I got. I feel like I got him for a steal. It's one of these sets that I wasn't actually too familiar with because I got out of the hobby already by then. Way back, I was probably just up and coming when the base set came out, and I had a bunch of nice cards. And then one day, I took them down to a soccer field. That was not a good idea. Went to go play soccer, and then by the time I went to go get my bag to go home, they were gone. And throughout maybe a decade later, probably what like 2016, 17, I ended up telling that story to one of my friends, and they ended up, I guess, feeling really sorry for me, and maybe they didn't want their Pokemon cards anymore, but they gave me a binder full of some pretty new cards that for me they were new. There was a lot of cards from like '05, '06, '07, '08. Some of them were pretty beat up. A lot of them were pretty good condition. I got those in a binder still, holding on to those. Maybe gonna send out a grade the ones that I really like just to hold them, preserve them a little bit longer, display them because some of them do have really good art. I'll bring that binder out one of these days. But for now, this is something that I've held on to. You know, the Pokemon collecting. I've held on to it. I realized that as soon as I started watching all these videos, I'm like, hey, I still got binders. They were just tucked away. I got a fat Yu-Gi-Oh binder tucked away, and every time I see either Pokemon or even Yu-Gi-Oh, it brings me back to nostalgic times, and enjoyed. I'm really big on watching the series, like especially if you guys are into those Bandai Cardos cards, the tops series cards, especially like the Bandai ones, the ones that have scenes from the show. I'm really into those cards a lot. Aquopolis right now is what we have in front of us, and that purchase I made at the antique shop, I just bumped into these. And I'm like, hey, these are these are pretty good, good cards, and the price was right too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get these. And I thought maybe to flip them, but I keep on just buying more and like looking for more to add on to. The reverse, the reverse set that I'm trying to put together, and now I'm gonna actually look into how many reverse hollows there are in this set. Because if no one buys them, I'm just gonna end up, you know, collecting the whole set because there's other cards that I'm really interested in, but at the same time they're kind of too expensive for me. So I go for cards that I can more affordable for me and kind of build up, trying to build up certain cards eventually. Like the ones that I'm looking forward to collecting more right now, and that I really have to knock it out of my list is actually collecting like the first base set, the 151, the original. I need to at least not graded though, like for binder purposes. That's something that I'm probably gonna start doing here soon. And after that, maybe focus on trying to just improve my cards. I got a bunch of cards, man. I got a bunch of cards, and some of them like, should I grade them? Should I not grade them? I know that some of them I want to grade just to keep. Others the try to flip, but that whole flipping thing, I feel like it's so saturated and everyone's trying to flip that I'm just like, oh, this is kind of one of those situations where I don't like to deal with the extra hassle of trying to like be a salesman, but I'm like I could also practice on being a salesman with Pokemon cards, something that I like. It's one of those things that I'm just getting back into, like at this level, and I think gradually this is gonna end up being the more graceful route. Don't put myself into a situation where I've heard other YouTubers say don't put more money than what you expect to like. I'll turn this into a business basically if you're not ready for that. Like for me, I'm just collecting as a collector right now. And later on, I know that eventually I'm gonna have to kind of let go of some of the things that I'm collecting just because I'm gonna try to get that item that I'm really trying to collect. But over time, I'm able to pick up some slabs for a good price and maybe, put them together and get my money a little bit, on the liquid side and buy that card that I actually want. I really want some of these cards that, that are from the Bandai card out set, but some of them are expensive, man. Some of them are pricey, and some of them you can't even find. And I'm just like, oh my god, what the heck? It's something that it's gonna take me a little bit to kind of figure out what the best alternative is to either getting just a graded card or a raw card. And I'm starting to go in the direction more of where, for me, a raw card can be easily displayed in a binder. But then I like those stands that I'm seeing, like where you can put a graded slab on. And I've seen some of those displays in some of the YouTube channels I follow, and I'm just like, I really like how that looks displayed. And my room right now, it's got this like ocean theme going on. So I'm kind of thinking about buying one of those displays just to put that tentacle there because it's going to fit that spot perfectly. Yeah. So I got little combinations of ways that I look at Pokemon in a different way. Surprisingly, it's like has to do with decor for that room, for example. I don't know. For me, fish Pokemon, like a combination of having a fish tank and a fish Pokemon in the background on the slab as a display. I don't know. I think that'd be a good combination. Something that maybe I should give it a shot. Work on it. It's been on my mind for a while. It's been on my mind for a while. Just something that I like. I've always wanted a fish tank. I like Pokemon. Sometimes I compensate for not having a fish tank, and I get fish water Pokemon. And that's been noticing that little trend where I'm like, oh, okay, like the fish tank might be a little bit more work, but I can get some fish Pokemon, you know? All right, that's my little, you know, delivery for today from CGC. I got a few more cards too that were there. I got this going on right here. I got also they brought by this Hariyama Sapphire Ruby. They also brought by this Umbreon from Plasma Freeze. Great looking card. They brought through this Houndoom 9.5. This is from Team Magma versus Aqua. I got this big guy right here. Holy cow. 9.5. You know what? This card right here, I'm actually kind of going through the decision whether to send it back in to try to get possibly graded into a 10. Yeah. And this Dark Arbok right here. I got the Dark Ekans, so now I got the set. I really like the Ekans, and the Arbok looks kind of funny here. But hey, they're a pair now, so I kind of like doing that little collecting side of things where I'll have, you know, Arbok, and then I'll run into Ekans, and they're both from the same set, the same stamp, and I'll be like, hey, like I just need to buy that Ekans because guess what? I got the Arbok, and I got the Ekans for like $25, graded a 9.5. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I see that there's no 10, and then plus the 10, pretty sure it's a lot more expensive. So I'm like, yeah, give me that 9.5. It looks good. Um, Sometimes I base things off of that. The 9.5 might be a 10, it might not. And sometimes I'll have that little interesting look at the card and be like, is this really a 9.5 or should it have been a 10? And some cards that I buy that are 9.5s, they clearly are 9.5s. They clearly are. Like, almost perfect, but then there's just one thing that I'm like, yeah, that's a good reason why I didn't get a 10. That's a really good reason why I didn't get a 10. And sometimes I try to get those cards that are 9.5s that I'm like, later on, maybe it might turn out to be a 10 when I look at the card. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. So for me, that I go down that route because sometimes I'll save a little bit of money. Sometimes I'll have the opportunity, is it maybe a 10? Little things like that, because I know these card grading companies aren't perfect. They're always susceptible to human error. So it gives me sometimes a little space to save some money on that 9.5 and possibly send it back in for a resubmit. And, and maybe that's the little thing that I'm working on, that sometimes it hasn't really played well, but sometimes it gives me those, those little stack of slabs where I'll put off to the side and be like, all right, I might send you out later. All right, guys, that was it. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of, the Pokemon in front of you. Maybe it's kind of a long video. You guys might not get through this all, but hey, this is Pokemon hobby. This is something that I enjoy looking at, and I can look back and record. I'll look at my recording and enjoy it for myself. All right, guys, take care.